But would you like to elaborate?
Yeah, exactly. Mahika, would you like to elaborate on, would you like to back your statement up?
Well, I think, I believe so. Sri Lanka is, it's coming out of it. But our culture is such that it's very hard for men to put that, the whole angle of putting the woman up front and listening to the woman, because it's difficult. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but they need to learn, because at the end of the day, I mean, we women, I believe a woman has a better way of looking or analyzing certain things, because we have the creative side as well as the analytical side. I'm not saying that you guys don't have the creative side, but we tend to think a little bit beyond. We empathize, we look into the future and go backwards. We would think, okay, these are the repercussions that will happen if we don't do these things. Or we will say, okay, if somebody comes over and says, I need to organize this dinner. And if it's for a man, I'm telling you from experience, he will say, okay, this area I will allocate for the dinner. That's it. But if it comes to me, I will think, okay, these two, I will ask more questions. Have you come here before? If is this your anniversary? What is it that you like to, something you like to give your husband? Is there like a specific dinner, like a dish that you both like? We'll go a little bit beyond to make that person's, because I think the discipline that we're in at. So I think, I hate to be sexist, but there is something that a woman can do much more in this world. And they always say, there's always a woman behind the man when they come to the top of the pops. They always say that there's always a woman behind. So obviously, the woman has given a lot, like maybe I would say about 70% for the man to go up to that next level, if they have a supportive wife or whatever. So I believe, yes, I think a woman has more than a man.
Well, you've heard that old saying, they say, the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world.
And then, Masam, let's just, tolerate these ideas for a bit. And I'd like to ask another question, going on the work that you do, would you like to elaborate? I think you brought it up just before we were talking.
Also the fact that, Mahika, you are a popular social woman who has built yourself a career, and you're good at what you do. To get to the position that you are now, I know for a fact that you've done your rounds, you've worked at many organizations overseas and here, and to come to this position where you are now, are there any specific challenges you faced? Anything that in your surrounding, that because of the fact that you're a woman, anything that pulled you down, and anything that pulled you down, and the fact that you came out of it? Is there anything you'd like to share with us in that sense?
From the time I came to this country, I studied in the US, and when I came here, I've always had the people who I worked for have always been people who had this transformational leadership quality of style. So they knew that I had the potential. So I didn't, if I should mention a few people, Gamini Fernando, who's now not in, he passed away in 1998. Then Ms. Yasmin Khada, then Mr. Anwar Devapura at present, Mr. Dilip Mudadine in the Sri Lanka tourism. I mean, these are all people who have given you that edge of, they've taken you to their, to their whole gamut of people in the, in the organizational structure, because they feel that you have something that they don't have, and there are certain things that are qualities in me that I can bring out and elevate that particular product. So I believe, I think you need to have some kind of a leader who and a culture that believes that we need to have certain things, without putting, they have to believe that risks have to be taken. I mean, they can't, they have to get away from that power. They need to make you accountable for what you're doing. So if you're accountable and you are being motivated and all of that, eventually you are empowered. And that's how I feel that we have come so far. People like us, and there are a few people, like even at Cinnamon Grand, Tharika is one of them, Cinnamon Lakeside, Nadia is one of them. So all of us have been given that edge because we have certain qualities that they don't have. And if they believe in us.
Right. So what you're saying is that as much as individual brilliance is important, it also has to be complemented by the network that's around you and by the support that you can derive from everyone around us. So now, Wasam, we're going to take a short break and we'll be back. So don't go anywhere. We'll continue our chat with Mahika. Welcome back. So Mahika Pereira is in the studio saying that it's actually women who do it best. But we're just having a very interesting chat about her and her work that she currently does, especially relating to the hospitality industry. Now, before we get on to that question, I'd like to just come back and just ask you about your career and a bit the highlights of your life story, if you can just share with us.
Okay, I'll give you a short one. Let's say I came here in 1990. No, I won't say dates. Okay. I came here from university in the United States. I went to UNLV, which is in Las Vegas. So obviously I was in the hospitality. I've always wanted to be in the hospitality industry. Soon after that I came here, and Hilton Colombo, Mr. Ramini Fernando hired me as a management trainee, which was a good thing because you come from the US wanting to become a manager, which is not, because you need to get down and dirty. So I started from housekeeping. I made all the beds. I moved on to public area. I went to all the bathrooms and cleaned all the bathrooms. We did all of that. And then Yasmin Khada saw potential in me, and she took me on to her wings, under her wings, and I was a media executive. That's when I started writing, my creative writing, and doing the Lady Hilton Club. We did functions every month. And after that, I started doing my master's in public administration, concentrating on the hospitality industry. And then Sri Lankan Airlines came into perspective. So I joined the corporate communications unit. Always, I've liked that whole the discipline of corporate communications. So I joined Sri Lankan Airlines. And from Sri Lankan Airlines, I had this vision to do something for the destination. So Sri Lanka Tourism was at that point building a little forum called Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, where they were trying to get private sector individuals to hype the destination, which was a good thing. So then a few of us joined. I went into the discipline of public relations, and a few came into the media and advertising, and then we had this huge campaign of hyping the destination at the time of the crisis. So that was a big challenge. That was a huge challenge, but we had a good leader, or I should say manager, Mr. Dilip Mududane, who took the best out of us. Actually, he really literally took the best out of us to the point of we all lost weight. We all lost weight.
And of course women consider that to be the best part of it.
No, it wasn't. It looked horrible. But we did a lot. We did a lot, and then somebody from the hospitality industry noticed me, Mr. Andradevapura. He always said, you need to be in the forefront. You can't be behind and making strategies all the time. That's what we did at Sri Lanka Tourism. So I said, no, I never thought about it, and he just took me. And from the time he gave me an objective, and because of his belief in me, I think I had so much of freedom to show what I'm good at. So within a scope of 2 years, we won awards. We brought the best website, and we won 2 awards for that in the online reputation segment. We built media mileage. We gained so much of recognition. Media management, media engagement, we won the hearts of all media from all different languages, not only in English, but in Sinhalese papers as well. And from that time onwards, the credibility was won with Mount Lavinia Hotel. Then the world saw me, and that's when Ibrahim Nasir International Airport in the Maldives noticed me, and that was such a great awe for me. So I just took up the challenge as head of corporate communications in the Maldives, which was short-lived. As you can see, Maldives Airport is now being taken over. That company was GMR, which was an Indian company. I worked there. It was just wonderful because it was such a challenge working with Maldivians and Indians. There were no Sri Lankans working in the airport. When I came back, because our chairman at the present place that I work at wanted me to take over the group. So I came back, and now I'm looking after all 3 properties, which is Mount Lavinia Hotel, Club Bentota, and Wakarufali. Yes, I work for the Mount Lavinia Hotel.
It's definitely an illustrious story, Vasab.
It's too long.
Long,
a
but
successful one. Interesting and successful one.
It is. It is.
And talking about the entire hospitality industry.
Mahika, I have an interesting question for you. Since you are very familiar with the hospitality industry. You see, here in Sri Lanka, you find a lot of women at home, staying at home, cooking for their husbands and children. They don't have, very successful careers, but they're great cooks, right? But in the commercial world, men are recognized as the best chefs. Why is that? Why is it in this country that women don't really use their talents which they use at home to really go out there and become professional chefs?
Okay, the very good question. But if you ask each of these celebrity chefs what made them be what they are, they said, I watched my mom cook. The women automatically know how to cook, but the men say they watch their moms cook. All of them would say, well, I watched my grandmother cook, I watched my mom cook, and I liked what I do. It's nothing to do with being, having a feminine side. It's just that they like to do something that they're not supposed to do. We all have that. Now, us women, we know how to cook. We'd like to become like our dad. I would like to become a legal. I would like to, do something that a man does. I mean, we always have that thing that we don't like to, we see all the time and we can do. I think that's what it is. Even our chef in the hotel, you ask him, he said, I watch my mom cook, and I've always liked to do that.
So the inspiration is derived from whoever it is that they've come to experience.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. So that's why I feel less women don't want to be a top chef. You ask Jamie Oliver, or you ask even Peter Kuruvita, they always say that it's because my mom, and I've always liked to do it,
Interesting.
Yeah, very
but they won't cook at home. Now, there was an Anthony Bradley who came, he was a Louisiana chef.
Okay.
When he came to Sri Lanka, he won't cook at home. Right. He will do it in the restaurant, but he won't come home and cook because he wants his wife or his mother to cook for him.
Okay, Vasam, now unfortunately we need to wrap up today's edition of Good Morning Sri Lanka. There's a lot more that we could have spoken with Mahika, but definitely we got some really good insights into your life and your career, and derived from it that women's empowerment for women is something that's very crucial and important.
Absolutely.
And definitely it can have a lot of benefits, not just for the organization, but for the economy as a whole.
Absolutely.
And Mahika, I'll have to say goodbye to you, and thank you very much for coming on Good Morning Sri Lanka.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks so much.
And with that, we have to say goodbye to all those lovely people watching us out there. Stay tuned to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We'll be back tomorrow.